You've always wondered about online meetings. Where do gamblers find that help? Well, we're going to find out today. Welcome again to another episode of the 1% in Recovery podcast, where we encourage you to laugh every day, work hard in recovery, work hard in your relationships, work hard in your business, career, school, just work. And to love unconditionally, put much more love out there and watch much more love return to you. Now, we encourage people, go to the website, lifeiswonderful.love, Love, and you can download the Recovery Growth Scorecard. It is free. I repeat, free. And it's a way to just jumpstart your recovery, kind of get going, where you can actually have natural dopamine, serotonin, endorphins, oxytocin, all those natural hormones. You got to start healing the brain, changing the neuroplasticity so you can live better. Now, let's jump into this week's episode with Francie, coming all the way from, she's still in Texas, but she's way up north in Amarillo. How are you feeling today, Francie?
I feel like I'm way up north in Amarillo.
You're not down here in hot Houston. You don't want to.
I
You don't
mean,
want to sweat a little.
well, it's still hot up here.
I know.
I was in
Not
Houston
as
a
humid.
couple of
Just
weeks
not as
ago.
humid.
No, it's not near as bad, thank God. But nobody understands that really the top of Texas is still Texas. But I was in Houston a couple of weeks ago. It's burning heat. I don't know how y'all do it. I can't
Oh,
even
it's even
breathe.
worse this week, man. It's
Ooh.
August, so this means brutal.
Oh
It's
my
brutal.
gosh.
And just
Yeah.
so people know, if I had a drive to see Francie, it would take me at least, probably unless you're driving a long time, it's going to take about what, 14, 16 hours?
14 hours. Yes, at
And
least.
you're still in Texas.
I'm still here.
No, I
I'm
know. That's what I
still
say.
here.
Going from Houston to Amarillo or Houston to El Paso, those are
I
just
know.
long
Yeah,
drives.
that's exactly right. Uh-huh.
All right, let's say one thing. I always like to ask people, what's one thing you love? Could be something like some food, place you visited, something else. What is something you love?
I love the water. I love the ocean. I love the color of the ocean. It's soothing to me.
It is.
And that to me is the best place to be. I love to be near the water. Of course, there's none up here. None. So
Not
maybe
even a
that's
lake.
why
There's not
that's
even a lake.
maybe that's why I crave it so much. But I love the sound, the every way that it makes me feel. So
But are you
it's
more of a person who likes to be on a boat, on a beach, like swimming, scuba diving, all of it?
all of it right on the beach is the best part, just to sit there with whatever. Actually, last time I was in Turks and Caicos, I just put my phone out, put it on record just to listen. So I recorded the ocean just to listen to it.
Nice. What's your next beach or water vacation, or where would you like to go, even if it's not planned right now?
My favorite place to go is Costa Rica. And I like to be on, I would love to move there actually, just for a while, but yeah, that'd be the place.
I got you. All right, let's jump into the questions.
Okay.
You are obviously a gambler. You're a gambler in recovery. And because you are in Amarillo, there are really not many live meetings in Amarillo. So it was difficult to find any help, right? Zero. Uh,
Zero.
so you went and you found online meetings. Tell us about, number one, online meetings. Also, because as gamblers, we isolate a lot. So it's important to, if you can't find a live meeting, to at least find, and we have a lot more online meetings if people need to search.
Mhm.
And I'm going to put that in the show notes. I'm going to put a link to a lot of these gambling online meetings. So, because a lot of people feel like, the distance too far. Oh, I drive an hour to just a meeting, and I get it. It can be difficult. But
Mhm.
tell us about the online meetings and the online community. Fort worth it. I finally met. I went up there in March. Met a bunch online people. You guys had a great conference in Dallas. Tell us about the online community and how important.
Okay. Well, first of all, the reason that I even started, I never had a problem until the online gambling. And that started just to divert my attention from the fact that I was taking care of my mom and she was dying. So I really couldn't handle it and got so sucked in to online gambling that in 120 days, it was just everything was turned upside down. It just kind of ruined my life. So I hate it that we have online gambling. The good news is we found recovery online and it kind of found me. Like you say, where I'm at, I don't even know another gambler up here. I mean, I'm sure they're there, but I don't know one. There's no meetings. There's just no nothing. And I'm only like 3.5 hours from Oklahoma where I could go to a casino, but I never did that. I was focused on coping is why I gambled. So it kind of found me. I went looking for help. I didn't know it was called Gamblers Anonymous or GA or whatever you want to call it, the program. Um, I joined a Facebook group, and then one of the guys in the Facebook group said, "Can I call you?" I said, "Yeah." So he called me and he talked me into going to into his room, for gamblers. Well, I didn't know there's any such thing about. I knew about AA, but I didn't know about it for help for gamblers. Anyway, the room that he got me in was kind of it was a bunch of circus monkeys. It was really kind of crazy. So I was like, okay, well, there must be help here somewhere. So I found my group or a group out of Fort Worth, and it's called actually Your Fort Worth It. And so I found help there. Um, when I found it like 4 years ago, there was maybe 5 meetings a week, and there was probably 15 to 20 of us in there. And so I couldn't believe that there was actual help. If there was not online meetings, I wasn't going to find it anywhere. So I really jumped into it because here was the help. Here was the help that I needed. It actually had a name. I didn't understand addiction. I didn't understand how the brain worked, the dopamine, nothing. So again, I went to the internet online and I did a lot of research on the brain, on gambling, the stats, what it does to you, what it does to families, just everything, how horrible it is. The thing that makes me sad now is there's a game called Roblox, and it's for like kids, 4 to 6 to 8 or whatever. It uses the very same reward system that the gambling industry does.
And
So,
they encourage the kids to ask mom and
yes,
dad for, "Hey, I need more Robux." And so
Robux. Yeah.
they're always caught into that cycle of, I got to get more cash because they're going to run
Yes.
out. They're
They're
going to
gonna
lose.
run out. I mean, it's crazy that now they're going after the kids. I noticed when I first came in, it was mostly men. Then I saw more women, and I mean, now a whole lot more women. Then I noticed that it was a trend of like college age students who had, spent their grant money or whatever money their parents gave them, and boom, here they are, a whole bunch of them. I think the youngest one I've seen in there is 14. But now at this point, 4 years later, I just celebrated 4 years.
Congrats.
We have 18 meetings a week, and we have over 60 people in those meetings, each meeting, or it's getting that way. Yeah, it's really blown up because there's such a need for it.
And I just saw, I mean, I'm 59, so I get the AARP magazine, and they did an article about 3 months ago on the front page on how it's not just college age kids. The gambling industry seeks out different demographics, and we'll go to like different retirement homes, pay the bus, drive them to,
Yeah.
or get them hooked online because and just like you said,
Hmm.
so many people over 50 are dealing with some type of grief, whether it's a spouse, whether it's a parent, maybe even a child. and people don't realize that grief will drive a lot of people to addiction. And just like trauma, just like
Mhm.
childhood or some type of violence,
Well, that's true. It's loneliness to
loneliness.
grief, loss, any sort of a loss. I mean, it's a whole new when you're 50, 60. That's a whole new life for us that we're trying to redefine because people are gone now. Your kids have moved on and they're doing their own thing. So there's a lot of loneliness, but I would have to say a whole bunch of the women that come in, it's grief.
Right, I hear you.
Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah, tell me what you touched on it briefly, but I think that's very important. You talked about the how easy it is to get addicted to online gambling. Because a lot of people think, "Oh, I'm just going to pass the time. Oh, I just have an hour. Oh, it's just $100." And not realizing how that is like the fishing lure. They're just pulling you in. Tell us whether it's is it tell us about, let's say, the advertising. Tell us
Mhm.
about the games themselves, like the sounds, the colors, because they're doing a whole psychological experiment on your brain, and you don't even know it. And then the
You don't even
screen
know
is
it.
hypnotic, and
Right.
the screens are hypnotic.
The screen is well, think about it. When I used to go to Vegas, my favorite game was the Buffalo, of course. And I go online, there's the game. There and it's the Buffalo, it's the sound of it. It's the very same thing. And I'm like, wow, it's right here. And
Explain,
there's
let's say, explain Buffalo the game, so that a lot of
okay.
people may not know what we're talking
Okay. Well, it's like the biggest one, the favorite. Like if you're in Vegas, you've ever been to Vegas, not even as a gambler, you've walked through somewhere, you've heard that game. And it's a lot of the Stampede. It's it and you have to I can't even remember really how the game works, but it's slots. Now, I gambled on everything, and you can find everything, the table games, the slots, everything online, even the sports betting, of course, you can find online. But just seeing that game and hearing that Stampede,
about. Mhm.
and then they say Buffalo, and you can hear it forever. And it's kind of it's the very same game. And there it is in your hand. You don't have to go anywhere. It's right there. My favorite game. What? Put a couple of bucks in. All right. And then it's just everything about it. It's the money. If you win, it just, the screen changes and the money comes falling out and it's like a parade. And, you're just like, wow, it's right here in my house. And, as long as you own that house, because you're fixing to lose it. Let me tell you real quick. But it's the visual for sure. Nobody's serving me a drink here, but it's all about the visuals, the sound. If my phone could just light up a little bit more, that would have been even better. But yeah, it got me. It got me fast and it got me hard. So I was doing it almost 24 hours a day. I had to sleep a couple hours, maybe, but it got me really, really bad. And then you start looking around. Oh, there's roulette on here? Okay. So, and it's the click, click, click. It's the ball and the click and it fits in and you win right off the bat. And my husband kept telling me that is not your online, they're cheating you. And I was like, no, they can't
It's
do
a
that.
computer chip, right?
I don't know what it is. I don't even know how it's legal, but I really got stuck on slots and roulette. And then I found blackjack. Oh, and that went really fast because it goes fast. The game
Right.
does. And
Like,
like I say, at first I'm going, I'm so good at this game. I get a blackjack every time. And then, I can't win after that, after I stack it up. And then here's the kicker, they take a minute to pay you back, sometimes a day. So you're just sitting there, that money's coming, um, maybe in a day, but it's just sitting there. And as a compulsive gambler, I'm going right back in. I'm losing that before they even pay me and giving them some more. So you got a vicious circle here, and they know what they're doing by holding that money back a little bit because we can't stay away
Right.
because it's right here in my hand. I was going back in, playing it all until I was at a deficit again, putting more money in it, and they'd be like, "Oh, sorry, we were just fixing to pay you," but it took a minute. So, and
Yeah.
that was if I was on a place that actually paid me, because a lot of them, like you'll find on Facebook and things, it's another scam. They'll
Right.
take your money, you are never getting yours back. Then they disappear.
And then at some point, you wish that Stampede went over you and
I
just.
wish, yeah, sometimes I
Let's say
felt
you
like
wish
it
you were in the
did.
middle of that Buffalo Stampede.
So true. Give me
All
a
right, let's
buffalo.
jump into question 2. You get involved a lot. You're obviously in a lot of meetings. You connect with a lot of people. You're calling people. You're texting people. You're always willing to help. Tell people that are kind of early on how important it is to start making connections because we're so isolated and lonely as gamblers. How important was that piece in your recovery as you were trying to understand addiction and recovery?
Yeah, it's almost like we have a compulsive behavior, How about that? This is a good question because I did a newcomers meeting last night and I talked about um how the program works, how you should get involved, things like that. Anyway, when I came in, I felt curb stomped. I had lost so much. I had lost a great part of my family. And so I had a lot of time. Nobody's speaking to you. You have a lot of time. So mostly I wanted help and I just came in the room. What do I do? And so get involved. And that's all you had to tell me because of this compulsive behavior.
And
So
because you got, like you said, you're in Amarillo, you're totally isolated.
I'm so isolated. Yeah, there's nobody around here. I'm actually, this is a weird, I'm closer to Denver than Dallas, if you can believe it. It's just, that's how far up I am. But even in the rest of Texas, you don't find a lot of help. Houston is very rare. So I got involved by, I go online and, I find this group and I just threw myself into it just to help myself and get me out of this brain fog, this whole roller coaster that I'm on. So I'm going to every meeting they have. Not only that, I'm going around and I'm going. They say do 90 meetings in 90 days. I did like 350 because this is where I found help. This is where I started to heal. And then they were telling me, I really believe in this program. And so they were telling me, and it's true, you can't keep it unless you give it away. And that means start helping other people. And that's my thing anyway. I truly believe that this is my passion and this is why I'm here is to help people get them off this cycle. So I started reluctantly. They put me as co-host and I was like, oh God, I'm just going to screw this whole thing up. And I did a whole lot of the times. But I had such supportive help in there. They didn't know I was screwing it up. It'd just be like, ask them the 20 questions, but I'd tell them, the 12 steps of recovery. All it was is a number in my head. I was just very nervous. But then I got to the point was like, scoot over, let me be the host. So I started hosting. And that became really important time for me because I was truly helping. I was right there helping. And I had this horrible story to tell. So, when some people would come in and, I'd tell them a little bit of my story. And the main thing that I wanted them to know, everybody who came in there was, please come back. There is hope. You can make it through. This is the way to do it. So service, I started with the co-host. I did hosting. I had my own sponsor, so I started sponsoring. Then I opened up my own meeting that was kind of a secret meeting just for girls. And that was called Freedom. So that was another one that just kept building and building. So next thing you know, I'm voted in as secretary, which is kind of like the organizer of the group on the Fort Worth group. So, And at this point, it's growing, growing, growing. So I'm in charge of all of the calendar, all of the GC, which is the group conscience meetings, all of the scheduling, all of the formats keep changing. I'm in charge of it all. And that's okay because I figured out very early on this is my new lifestyle. This is it. I filled gambling with GA. And plus I've got my freedom girls over here. And now I'm even doing like step workshops because, I had an extra 30 minutes. I don't know. I thought it was very, very important to get involved because, like I said, this was my passion. I feel a real sense of I really need to help people, and I have the perfect husband that gives me the time to do it.
Good. Excellent. Let's move on to question three. They always talk about recovery is freedom. What does freedom mean to you?
Freedom to me is I am no longer controlled by the next bet. I am no longer controlled by games. The whole industry sucks. I had to learn to hate it. I really did, and I do. But it's to me, freedom is like I wake up in the morning and I'm not looking for, oh God, what happened to the money? How do I cover it? What do I do? What checking the mail, lying got to be such an easy thing for me, which was horrible. I'm not chasing any losses. I'm not hiding transitions. I'm not, or transactions. I'm not making promises I know I can't keep. It doesn't mean that life is always easy for me, but I don't have to experience that guilt, pain, remorse ever again of what I did. There's what I call the gambling shadow that kind of follows me around, but it's nothing like the hell that I lived through when I was gambling online. It's not getting back what I lost, it's realizing that I'm no longer lost, you know? So, recovery has given me everything. It's given me my choices, my voice, my faith, and my hope. It's allowed me to become someone that I can look in the mirror again and respect myself. To me, freedom is being able to go to bed knowing that just for today, I didn't gamble. I like to say, stay grateful, stay humble, and stay off the bet.
Excellent. Let's finish up with two quick questions.
Okay.
There's a lot of stuff about responsible gambling. And one thing is what the gambling industry does, and I get why they push that. It's just like the alcohol industry pushing moderation drinking. My whole thing is we have certain people that are in recovery, or let's say doctors, psychologists, state councils, even the National Council on Problem Gambling, where there's almost a divide. I'm on the fact that responsible gambling doesn't work, will never work. You cannot gamble responsibly. It's like trying to me saying like, well, just try to do heroin responsibly. Just do
Yeah,
one hit. But there's some people that want to do some type of collaboration. It's like trying to collaborate with the drug cartels. Uh, what is your opinion on responsible gambling? Can you gamble responsibly, or is an absolute no?
absolutely not. Absolutely not. I cannot go in or near gambling establishments. I will never test or tempt myself. I don't I hate that and I really should look into this more cuz now I'm mad about it. But from what you say,
Good.
I'm truly pissed. That's stupid. That's just the dumbest thing I think I've ever heard. And I think it's so they can keep their foot in the door like, we're really helping y'all out. No, you're
Or
ruining
player
people's
protection.
lives.
I
Yeah.
love that concept. How are
Oh
you
my
playing when
God.
you're trying to take all their money? How are you protecting them?
How are you protected? And listen, people who try to self exclude, they put up so many barriers. Are you sure you want to? Look at that jackpot over there. Then they walk you to the back with a cop. This is just people that I've heard, and they try to talk you out of it the whole time. And
And then
some
and it's not even for you can. And then they say, "Well, we'll just do it for a year. We'll
just a
just
year.
we'll just keep you off for a year,
Yeah.
or
So
unless you push, you won't get the lifetime ban."
Right, and you really have to push for it, and sometimes you won't get it. Like on a reservation, I don't think that you will. But and it's not something that actually the program endorses at all. But that's just a way of them saying you can self-exclude, and then when you get there, oh no, really, you can't. It's I hate to say it, it's all bullshit. It
Right.
is. There's
And,
no such thing as responsible gambling, especially not to a compulsive gambler.
and not to
That's
mention,
just
the product is constantly changing. They're speeding up and they're using the phones to get more and more people. Like you said, even the 4 to 6 year olds with the Robux or the
yeah.
2 year olds with the bingo.
Well, try to watch a football game, and you'll see DraftKings or Dual FanDuels or whatever it's
And now
called.
call sheet, now it's all the prediction
Oh
markets.
my God, that's just
Insane.
the next worst thing that's coming in. And I'm telling you, it's devastating to people that come in and they can't get out. They know it's bad. They know it makes no sense. And you're stuck. And it's killing people. There's three places we wind up: jail, insane asylum, if there's, one of a hospital, or dead. That's it. Three places. I don't want to be in any of those places. I had
No.
to crawl out, and thank God that man called me from Facebook, is all I have to say.
All right, and the last quick question. This
Yes.
whole thing about, stigma. I'm a big believer in this is, a lot of people have like one thing was the old stigma around alcohol. Now a lot of people, because you feel dumb about the amount of money that you've either lost or that you're in debt.
Mhm.
I'm a big believer is you got to put a face on gambling recovery, how
Mhm.
beautiful our lives can be in a very short time.
I
And so
know.
that's what I like to say is I try to. That's why I try to put my face out there. Gambling recovery works. How
I
important do you
really,
think is about breaking this stigma, especially around gambling? Not only just
yeah.
addiction, but gambling addiction.
I think we have to, and I respect you a whole lot for doing that. And I didn't used to be that way because I'm in a little small town, and you know,
People are
uh,
going to talk.
people are going to talk. Then I'm like, they talk about me anyway. So, I really want to bust out and just show everyone, warn everyone how bad this is getting. And uh, I don't know what that phrase is, or one about recovery. Don't do it in silence, do it out loud so other people know. So I think everyone needs to be educated on what you said about really you can do it fast. The first things that work out is the finances. It's an emotional illness. It's not a financial thing, but getting yourself back is easier than you think. I think it was for me because I really, really wanted help. But it's amazing. And I'm like, if somebody comes in new, okay, just hang in there with me for 1 week. Then the next week I'll go, how do you feel? And they're like, I cannot believe I feel so much better, because we are so down. And the stigma, that's why we have open meetings so members can bring in their friends and family and sift through one of those and see if you don't get it, because people are suffering. And if they don't have the support of the family, it just makes it 10 times harder. And I get it that, we've done horrible things. Yeah. But God, we're trying to heal, and recovery is a beautiful place to be, um, help somebody up, try to understand it. It didn't make any sense to me either while I was stuck in it, but I didn't set out to do that. Did I take that first bet? Yeah. I'd been doing it for a long time. When it was right in my hand, it was over. It was just flat over. So the stigma is horrible. The gambling shadow is horrible, but I don't care. I'm going to try to make it easier for everybody that I can.
Excellent. And with that, we are going to conclude this episode of the 1% in Recovery.